Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. So Anthony Joshua has reiterated that he wants to bust up and steamroll through Kubrat Pulev and make a statement. Now, obviously Anthony Joshua hasn't had a knockout victory since Alexander Povetkin, and that came in September 2018. So it's almost been 2 years since he's knocked an opponent out, and that is what he is looking to get back over Kubrat Pulev, get his knockout streak back again, because there was one point when Anthony Joshua hadn't even gone beyond the 7th round, and he was actually going into the fight with Vladimir Klitschko in his 19th fight with that stat. So obviously Anthony Joshua is a devastating knockout puncher, but recently he's had to go back to basics and go back to boxing more so than anything else. But we know the real AJ, we know the one we saw early on in his career, devastating punching power, and he comes forward with mean intentions, and that is what he is looking to do against Kubrat Pulev, which is very exciting for fight fans, because we do like the boxing side of Anthony Joshua's game, because the thing about Anthony Joshua when he boxes, he's not necessarily boring like other fighters may be considered, because Anthony Joshua does still come forward and land hard and ferocious punches like he did against Andy Ruiz. Yes, he was boxing off the back foot, but he wasn't necessarily making it boring. He was still landing heavy shots and heavy blows on Andy Ruiz. You cannot say that that fight was really boring that AJ was in, because it wasn't. It had moments, and the dynamic, the storyline, the build-up, all of that made it a very interesting fight, because you didn't know what was going to happen. We knew that Andy Ruiz was going to have his moments, and he did, but Anthony Joshua made sure that he was mature in that fight and knew when to grab hold and knew when to get back behind the jab, because what Anthony Joshua was doing was putting him on the end of a jab, using angles, creating different angles, using his fast footwork, because Ruiz might have faster hands, but Anthony Joshua has faster feet. That will always win out over the hand speed, so Anthony Joshua exploited that in Andy Ruiz. So that is what he was doing, offering angles, keeping that jab flowing, and anytime Andy Ruiz got a little bit too confident, Anthony Joshua had a hard right hand waiting for him. So that is how he approached the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. And that specific game plan was tailored for Andy Ruiz. That won't necessarily work against Kubrat Pulev, because Pulev in this fight would rather box Anthony Joshua than fight him, because Pulev does have a good jab, he has good positioning, and he does punch hard as well, power in both hands, but the thing is, he would rather box as opposed to have a fight with Anthony Joshua, because Joshua has the more devastating knockout ratio compared to Pulev. So if AJ does go in there and box, then that does kind of play to Kubrat Pulev's strengths a little bit more so than it would if Anthony Joshua went in there looking to make a bit of a fight of it. Not so much like he goes forward ridiculously and not bothering about what comes back, because we've seen Anthony Joshua do that, and it's not the best thing to do when you're in there at this kind of level. So it will be calm, it will be considered, it will be measured, but still, he's going to be going in there looking to land big right hands and those devastating combinations that he is able to get off on the inside. And that specifically is what I believe Anthony Joshua will look to do in this fight, get on the inside, which is interesting because against Andy Ruiz, the idea was to stay on the outside and not allow Andy Ruiz to be the inside fighter, because that's what Ruiz does best, he fights on the inside. So if you take that away from him, he's not basic, but a lot easier to beat than he would be if you stood there and traded with him. Anthony Joshua learnt that and put that into motion in the rematch. This time, it's kind of the other way around. Pulev would rather box, so Anthony Joshua needs to make him fight. That is what he will do, and it's encouraging to see that Anthony Joshua is looking to go in there and get his knockout streak back against Kubrat Pulev. I mean, Eddie Hearn's constantly saying that Anthony Joshua is going to make a big statement, steamroll through him, and then go on to Tyson Fury. I mean, he's a promoter. Anthony Joshua is the one getting in there and fighting, but Anthony Joshua is echoing those thoughts from Eddie Hearn. He's echoing what Eddie Hearn is saying. He wants to get his knockout streak back as well and get a devastating victory over Kubrat Pulev, make a statement going into a possible undisputed fight with Tyson Fury. And I think that in this fight with Kubrat Pulev, Anthony Joshua will look to start busy. He won't want to let Kubrat Pulev settle into the fight. That is probably the worst thing that he can do, because Pulev does have a good boxing IQ and a good boxing brain as well. So if he grows into the fight, it will make it a lot easier for him to settle. If Anthony Joshua does not allow him to settle, then he can start dictating the pace, the distance. Then Pulev will start to get tired because he will be burning nervous energy. Because if you are in control of those things, you don't necessarily tire, because look at Anthony Joshua in the first Ruiz fight compared to the second one. There wasn't all that much difference apart from Anthony Joshua was controlling those fundamentals. That meant he didn't get tired. So as long as AJ is in control of those things, then he won't get tired, Pulev will, because Pulev doesn't often get tired in fights, and that's not because he has a great cardiovascular system or he has this youth or whatever. It's not because of that. It's because he fights in rhythm, in stages. He doesn't waste any punches whatsoever. Good positioning, and he measures his attacks. So you don't see Pulev throwing wild punches and missing wildly. You don't ever see that from Kubrat Pulev. He's measured, he's careful, and he's calculated. That is the reason why he doesn't get tired. But if Anthony Joshua takes him to a place he's never been before, or a place he's been in the Vladimir Klitschko fight, then he's going to start burning nervous energy. He won't know what to do because Anthony Joshua is tearing him away from his game plan, thus dragging him into a fight that he doesn't want to be in, and that is what Anthony Joshua will look to do on December 12th. So the way Anthony Joshua will work this fight, I believe, is I think he will look to get on the inside. He doesn't want to really be boxing at range with Kubrat Pulev because, again, that does kind of play into Kubrat Pulev's hands. I don't believe Kubrat Pulev can beat him that way, but I think that Anthony Joshua can make it easier for himself by going for the knockout, by making not necessarily a brawl of it, but more of a fight of it. So getting close to him, getting on the inside, and the way Anthony Joshua will do that is use footwork and use his jab as well. So he can measure Pulev with the jab, back him up, set him on his heels with that jab, then get on the inside. Because when Anthony Joshua jabs, he has a hard, fast jab, and he can double it up as well and come around to the side. So when he does that, he can then bring the right hand in as he comes around to the side, because Pulev will not see the right hand, because all that he will see is the jabs, and then he will not see the right hand coming, and that could be the punch that knocks him out. Then Anthony Joshua is able to get on the inside and land those short punches, the uppercut, the left hook, the ones that are so devastating that even knocked down Andy Ruiz Jr. for the first time in his career. And considering Anthony Joshua has a small height advantage, he has a small weight advantage, because I believe he will be heavier than he was going into Andy Ruiz. He was under 17 stone for that fight. He will be 17 stone, 17 and a half, I believe, going in there with Pulev. So he has those physical advantages over Pulev, which does not help Pulev at all. So those physical advantages are there for AJ. AJ is also faster, more powerful, moves better than Pulev. So Anthony Joshua has all of the tools to dismantle Kubrat Pulev. If he puts it all together, then he will be able to do so in a devastating fashion, like he wants to do. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.